Chapter 10 of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I want to look at page 133. Toward the bottom of that page, what are you laughing about now? Constance asked me. I am thinking that we are on the moon, but it is not quite as I supposed it would be. It is a very happy place, though. Constance was bringing breakfast to the table, scrambled eggs, so she's again making this nice breakfast. I will go on my winged horse and bring you cinnamon and thyme, emeralds and clove, cloth of gold and cabbages. And rhubarb, that's Constance adding this. So again, she's like playing along with Mary Catherine's fantasies. On page 135, Mary Catherine is thinking about what she would wear on the moon. And Constance says to her, "That may be all very well for the moon, Miss Foolishness. On the moon you may wear a suit of fur like Jonas for all of me, but right here in our house you are going to be clothed in one of your Uncle Julian's old shirts, and perhaps his trousers too." So again, going back to the idea of wearing the clothing of deceased family members. So I don't know if there's some sort of symbolism in the fact that it's Julian's clothes. I mean, they have clothing from other family members, I think, in the house. So it could be that she is wearing something or going to wear something from Uncle Julian because he is the one who most recently passed away. Page 139. So people have begun bringing them food, right? And they leave it, I guess, on their porch, near their front door. And so they take it into their house and they do eat it. And then Constance is thinking about, returning the basket and any napkins that were given to them. On page 139, "I'll take the basket back and leave it on the porch so he'll know we found it." That's Mary Catherine. "No, no," Constance caught me by the arm. "Not until I've washed the napkins. What would she think of me?" So again, Constance wants to, make a good impression still, even though they're living in sort of a burned out house. Several lines down, "We thought that the men came home from work and the women had the baskets ready for them to carry over. Perhaps they came in darkness, not to be recognized, so they show up. The villagers who are bringing them food show up after dark to deliver the food." And they also leave notes of apology for having broken or destroyed certain items. Like they'll say, "This is an apology for breaking the dishes," or "We apologize about the curtains." Page 140. Again, they don't stray too far from the house. I never went farther away than the edge of the woods, and Constance went only as far as the vegetable garden. And then sometimes people come to the house and kind of stare at the house. We watched the children playing and the people walking past, and we heard their voices, and they were all strangers with their wide staring eyes and their evil open mouths. They rarely turned squarely to look at our house face to face, but looked from the corners of their eyes, or from over a shoulder, or through their fingers. "It used to be a lovely old house, I hear," said the woman sitting on our grass. "I've heard that it was quite a local landmark at one time. Now it looks like a tomb," the other woman said. So apparently these people are just, showing up, and almost like it's some kind of tourist attraction, and just kind of making themselves at home, like they had kind of done in the past after Constance's trial, but now they seem to do it much more brazenly, as if they're not even thinking that these women are still living in this house. Page 142. Charles does return, and he, is trying to convince Constance to talk to him, exit the house, maybe even come with him. It does say at the bottom of 142, "I looked at Constance and thought she had never seen Charles so truly before." So something, maybe she's thinking that something has changed in Constance, so she can see what Charles is actually like, what his character actually is. Page 145. Charles leaves. Constance says, "I am so happy. Mary Cat, I am so happy. I told you that you would like it on the moon." So again, we can think about what we think the moon actually means. But apparently Constance is happy. Charles is gone. He's no longer threatening to take her away, or threatening or offering an existence outside of the one that she has. Middle of the page, 145. Mary Catherine talks about the boards being placed over the windows. The boards across the kitchen windows were ours and part of our house, and we loved them. And then the final page of the novel, Mary Catherine and Constance are thinking about the sort of legacy that the house is acquiring. And she's thinking on page 145 about things that protect her now. My new magical safeguards were the lock on the front door and the boards over the windows and the barricades along the sides of the house. And they do hear people outside, and they hear people talking to each other outside. And this part at the top of 146 is interesting. "Don't, the ladies might be watching. You think they can see in the dark? I heard they see everything that goes on. Then there might be laughter drifting away into the warm darkness. They will soon be calling this Lover's Lane," Constance said. "After Charles, no doubt." "The least Charles could have done," Constance said, considering seriously, "was shoot himself through the head in the driveway." Why? So that the house would have this even grander, notoriety than a mere poisoning. We learned from listening that all the strangers could see from outside, when they looked at all, was a great ruined structure overgrown with vines, barely recognizable as a house. And then, people would warn their children not to go up there to the house. And then there's this instance, a description of a boy who approached the house and stood on the steps. And then he calls out, "Mary Cat," said Constance, "would you like a cup of tea?" And then fled, followed by all the others. That night we found on the doorsill a basket of fresh eggs and a note reading, "He didn't mean it, please." So interestingly, it's almost like these women have taken on this, almost like this supernatural power. Like someone merely approaching and, using this taunting song could create some kind of repercussion, almost like it's a curse or something, like something bad could happen to these people because they're taunting these women. "Poor child," Constance said, putting the eggs into a bowl to go into the cooler. "He's probably hiding under the bed right now. Perhaps he had a good whipping to teach him manners. We will have an omelet for breakfast. I wonder if I could eat a child if I had the chance." "I doubt if I could cook one," said Constance. "Poor strangers," I said. "They have so much to be afraid of." "Well," Constance said, "I am afraid of spiders." "Jonas and I will see to it that no spider ever comes near you." "Oh, Constance," I said, "we are so happy." So, yeah, this novel ends in a really interesting way. And if you're writing about power, who has power now? And what kind of power? There definitely has been a shift. So in what way has the power shifted? I think we can agree that this whole home, this house, and these women have taken on a mythological sort of significance. And so that is my discussion for chapter 10.